What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So, just forewarning, it is very, very late. I'm super tired, but I know if I don't get this review recorded tonight, then I'm not gonna have time to do it tomorrow. So, this is pretty much the only chance I'm gonna get to talk about this. But with all that being said, record-breaking night from Atlanta, which is always great. Um, but yeah, I mean, great win at Orlando. Honestly, we deserved it. Probably should have been by a bit more, and probably shouldn't have let them score. But I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, overall, I mean, a lot of positives to take out of this game. I thought the team overall played very, very well. We were very strong throughout most of the game. Obviously, Martinez breaking the record, fantastic, and I think they didn't talk about it because obviously, him breaking the all-time scoring record is huge, but I'm pretty sure he's now tied with someone. I think it's Bradley Wright Phillips for the most consecutive games scored in a row. So consecutive in a row. See, I'm very tired. I'm talking over myself. Anyway, so I mean, he's one away from breaking that record. He's already broken the hat trick record this year. He's on fire, and it's a joy to watch him play because you think, oh, he hasn't done much tonight, oh, he hasn't really, but he's just waiting for his moment to pop up. And it's interesting because last season I got a little bit frustrated with him because there were moments in games when I wanted to see more out of him. I wanted to see more hard work and determination to fight for the team. And this year I've seen that, but on top of that, I've seen even more in moments when he's not really involved. He's still putting pressure on the defense. He's still making the right runs this year. Whereas last year, when he got frustrated, he just wasn't doing anything. And that got pretty frustrating to watch. So, I don't know. I think he's having a much better season this year, obviously, because a lot of that is down to the fact that he's working harder overall. And it's benefiting the team, it's benefiting himself as well. It's so much fun to watch our games right now. Even the games where we don't play as well, there are still moments that just are a joy to watch. So, anyway, like I said, there were a couple negatives though to take out of the game, and it's not something that I'm just like, oh, we let up a goal. I'm so pissed about that. But honestly, this is a problem that we've had over the past several games. There are moments where we just turn off collectively. And the moments leading up to their first goal, and there were a few moments about probably 10 minutes in the second half where we turned off as well. I just get really frustrated in those moments because it's lazy. It's dull. We're just giving the ball away needlessly. I mean, you watch the build up to that goal. We get on the ball and it's slow. We're passing it slow, 3 or 4 touches and then give the ball away, or you're taking several touches and then finally pass it off to someone you could have passed it to, 30 seconds ago. So you're just watching all this slow, dull, boring, and then it's just that one giveaway from Gressel. And I'm just like, I feel like something bad's about to happen. Like, I'm just watching this. I'm watching how much pressure they're putting on us. I'm watching how we're kind of letting them apply high pressure, and we're not really getting around it either. It's not like they're applying high pressure and we're playing through it. It's more like they're applying high pressure and we're just kind of narrowly avoiding it and just waiting for them to close down all the angles instead of just moving the ball and making them work for it, which is what we were doing for the most of the half. And ultimately, that giveaway, pass, nice flay off, goal. Easy as that. And it just comes from that little play. It's about 2 minutes maybe of just laziness leads to their goal. And now all of a sudden they're back in the game. And we could have easily just killed them off if you just keep working hard. And another problem I do think stems from this is the fact that Tata doesn't like to sub. I feel like that's a problem because it's almost like in the mindset of the players out there, well, I'm going to take a little break because I can't play, 100% the full 90 minutes, which nobody's really expected to. But I feel like you have players that should be just working their butts off, and then, okay, 70th minute, 65th minute, if they're looking tired, get them a sub. But instead, what it turns into is they bust it for 30 minutes, and then they turn off for the last 15 of the first half, and then they bust it for another 30, and then they turn off for the next 5, 10, and then they get subbed off for the last 5 minutes of the half. In my opinion, that's not good enough. It should be bust it for 45, bust it for maybe 10, 20 in the next half and then get a sub and get somebody else who's going to bust it for the last 30. Because we can't keep turning off like this. It leads to games like the Seattle game, where we're dominating the play, they're not really doing much of anything, and then we turn off for about 10 minutes, and then they get a goal. And now all of a sudden we're having to try to break down just 11 players inside of a box being 1-0 down. That's difficult. And so we nearly put ourselves in that situation here again, where they were kind of sitting back most of the night. We got a goal that forced them to come out, and then we have control of the game, and we don't really finish our chances, and then we turn off for the last 10 minutes, and then we give up a goal, and all of a sudden it's 1-1, and things are more stressful. I have a problem with that. It's not something that I'm going to say is ruining the season, but it's why both New York teams, we were running away with it for a while, and now all of a sudden both New York teams are like right there. And I think Red Bulls, I can't remember, I think they tied. So I think now we are actually ahead of them, even with the game at hand that they have. I might be wrong about that. I have to go look again. But, they caught up to us. And at one point, New York City was 1 point behind with the game at hand. New York Red Bulls were 3 points behind with 2 games at hand. And it's because of moments like that we just turned off, and there were a couple games we gave away at home. And it's frustrating. Those games can be really, really frustrating when that happens. So I'm glad it didn't hurt us overall tonight. I'm glad we still got the 3 points. But it is something to look at going forward, those moments of turning off. So with that being said, though, let's talk about individuals. Honestly, I can't really think of a bad performance tonight. There are a couple average, but overall no bad ones. Starting in defense, Escobar is out hurt, so that means Julian steps in for him at right back. Not necessarily a bad change, but I do wish we had more natural right back there. But at the same time, I think his best position is when he's out wide and he's providing the runs out wide. And in the 4-2-3-1 that we play, the right back is the one making those runs. So maybe this is a position that he might be able to play a bit better than that more attack-minded role. Because in those moments, that's when he cuts inside, and that's when he's not as effective. And what I mean by that, some people are going to say, but he was inside for the pass that led to Martinez's goal. No, what I'm saying is whenever we've got the ball and we're moving it around, his best position is out wide. We swing it out wide to him, and then he gets a cross in, or he provides the width, which causes them to have to open up to mark him. That's his best position. And so whenever he's playing that right attacking mid, I feel like he's just, whenever we're in the flow of play, we're moving the ball, he comes inside and he's not as effective in there. He'll pass it off every now and then, but the runs he makes aren't quite good enough. Sometimes his passes can be a little lackluster, so maybe this right back position will be a good move for him. I'm not sure how long Franco's going to be out, but we'll see. But aside from that, though, the rest of the defense was solid overall. Obviously Michael put in a great performance. Perez put in a great performance, which honestly is he's a player that I've sort of overlooked, but he's done really well recently. He's had several good games back-to-back. Defensively, he's done very well. Even on the ball, he's not been as wild and crazy. He'll drive forward, but it's always a good drive. It's always a drive that leads to a chance. It's never just I'm just going to dribble because I want to dribble and then I lose the ball. He drives and then he finds a pass and it sets up for a good play. I do appreciate the good work he's been putting in because he's looked good. So, and then Chris on the left side did okay. Not necessarily anything stellar compared to, I think, you look at Perez and Parkhurst. I think those two are our best defenders, and then Julian and Chris, they both played well, but they didn't really do anything that was just holy crap. Julian was the same old, has a great moment, then has a bad moment, then has a great moment, then has a bad moment. I can even remember, he lays off the ball after a really good run of play with Tito, lays it off, Martinez gets the goal. I'm like, yes, that's what I want to see from Julian. And then 5 minutes later, Ezekiel picks up the ball, and Julian's right there. And all he has to do is just make the run because Ezekiel saw the space. He lays it in behind, and he doesn't make the run. I'm like, God, Julian, you're the worst player we have. That's how I feel about him. It's just sometimes I love him, sometimes I hate him. So I never really think unless he's playing that right wing back position the whole time, I don't know. I haven't really had a game where I'm just like, yes, 100% of the time. So But on top of all that, Brad Guzan in goal, really, really solid. Not much he can do on the goal. I mean, it was well struck. It was a well built up play. I mean, there's not much he can do for that, but he did make a couple saves near the end of the game that kept us in it. And in my opinion, that's why it's great to have such a confident keeper back there. And there are even a couple moments, with his feet that I'm just like, ball goes through, it could be going out for another corner. He runs over, gets it, and plays it down the line, saves us from having a corner. Late in the game, you've got pressure coming high. I can't remember who was on the ball. I think it was Michael. But Brad's over there. He's like, hey, play it to me. I've got an option. So Michael sees that, plays it to him, and he lays it off for Chris. And now all of a sudden, we're breaking down the left side. So I just love having such a confident keeper back there. He brings a whole lot to it aside from just making saves. Something that a lot of people may not even notice, but I notice it, and I think it's great for our team. In the middle, Eric and Jeff again. Eric, a little bit better tonight. I talked about, in the last game, he wasn't really that effective. He had a couple bad moments here and there that were pretty frustrating. But overall, tonight, I think he played pretty well. I think the main thing that he brings whenever he's out there is he really does well finding those passes. He does well to link up the play, which is something that Darlington did as well. However, the one thing that Darlington brought that he still has yet to bring is the quick change of pace. There's still too many times where he tries to go and then he gets bodied off of it because he's not fast enough, or he gets run down because he's not fast enough. Whereas Darlington, if he spun out and he went, not many players are going to catch him. So he lacks that, and on top of that, I was hoping to get somebody that could do both sides of it as well. Get forward in the attack, but also help out defensively. And he's still not showing that. He's still not providing that defensive cover that we really need there. I just haven't seen enough of that from him. And even, the moments leading up to the goal, you've got Jeff make. I think Jeff was stepping to someone. Honestly, I don't know. I kind of fast forwarded through the replay, so I didn't really watch much of it because I was so frustrated. But I'm pretty sure Jeff was stepping to cover someone, and I think Eric should have been the one to step across in front of it. I feel like he wasn't getting there fast enough. I don't remember who was supposed to be there. But you do sort of feel that lack of defensive work right in the middle with only, Jeff obviously does the work very well, but if they're flooding numbers forward, he's only one man, and you can definitely feel that lack of defensive effort in there sometimes with Eric. So I want to see just a bit more from him. Not necessarily more effort, because he does work hard, but I do want to see more quality effort. I do want to see him working smarter, not harder, if that makes sense. And then you go into the front three in behind Josef. Ezekiel's back in the team, Miguel, Tito. All three of them, great first half. Second half, I thought Tito sort of dropped off a bit. His passes weren't as effective. He started dribbling into pressure. And some of that was just the fact that they started crowding everything. But at the same time, you got to look at it and say, well, okay, they're crowding everything because you're taking 3 or 4 touches and allowing them to get back and crowd it. Because there were several times he's on the break, and then he cuts it back, and then he cuts it back, and then he cuts it back, and all of a sudden 7 players in front of him now. So I do think he needs to make his decisions a bit quicker, because he's very, very fast, and he's a very good player as well. But sometimes it's like he can't make the decision quick enough, and it causes the options that he has to sort of fade away. Miguel, overall, just works very hard. He's a great player. We know this. But I think you really watch him. There's so much that he provides on both sides of it. He works hard to go win the ball back. He works hard whenever he's got the ball, taking it down the field. He's very intelligent on the ball. I love having him in the team. Even if he's not scoring or assisting, there's so much that he brings that is just phenomenal. And then Ezekiel, second half he still did well. He didn't have as much of a drop-off as Tito did, but I still think he did drop off just a bit. I'm not really sure why or how. With Tito, I could see, all right, he's trying to do too much. He's giving the ball away too much. But with Ezekiel, it's almost kind of like I didn't really notice him as much in the second half. Whereas first half, honestly, everybody was flying in the first half. I would say that first 30 minutes, maybe 35 minutes, right before those moments leading up to their goal, I think was the best performance I think I've seen us put in. Everybody's working hard to win the ball back. Everybody's doing their job. That 3 in behind Josef, working so hard, double teaming people. It's like they skip past one just to run into another one of our players. it was great to see. In the second half, it felt like it was a more controlled performance. We just didn't really fly all over them like we were in the first half, but it still felt like things were under control. We kept possession still a lot. So it was a different second half, and I think because of that, we didn't see as much of Ezekiel. He was still there, he was still involved, but I definitely noticed him sort of fade out of it whenever that high-flying pressure sort of faded away as well. So maybe that's just what he brings more of, that intense pressure. When he's on the ball, he's very clever. I do think, release it a bit quicker sometimes, but overall he brings this just energy, this flowing energy whenever he's on it. It's wonderful to watch. And then, of course, Josef, I already talked about him a lot. First half didn't really notice him a whole lot, but he's still there putting pressure on the defenders, causing them to have to mark him, and that opens up space for other players. So I love the fact that we have a striker that can do that. And as far as the subs, all of them came on way too late to really provide much. Miles Robinson came on again and provided a right back position, because Julian's not a right back technically. So Tito comes off, now we're more defensive, and then Kevin comes on for, I think, Ezekiel. Romario comes on for Josef, and at that point it's just kind of wasting time with your subs and bringing on players that are just fresh legs. So but overall, it was a good performance. It was a good win, but there's still some caveats that we've got to look at when we face some better teams. Because let's be honest, Orlando is really, really, really not in a good place right now. Even with the new coach, they still haven't gotten it together. There's still a lot of gaps. There's still a lot of flaws. We should have gone in there. We should have handled the job easily. And so the fact that we left them in the game as long as we did, the fact that we let them have a goal as easily as we did, is kind of a sign to me that there's still some flaws in our game that we have to chip out. Because we keep these flaws up. We go into playoffs, we have these flaws pop up in one game, and all of a sudden it's like last year. Where Columbus wasn't in the game at all, but we couldn't finish our chances, and then penalty kick shootout, we screw it all up. So I want to make sure that we're not in a place like that we're in a place where we're confident, both attacking and defending wise, and we just easily put games away, so that way going into the playoffs we have a ton of momentum, we have a ton of confidence, and we can go in and just win it, because I feel like we need to win something this year. I was hoping the Open Cup would be it, put in some good, strong performances, win that, but they decided not to go with that, so now it's either got to be a supporter shield or we got to win the playoffs. I feel like either one is very viable right now. We just have to keep working hard. We have to keep putting, good mindset out in the field, and those 10 minutes where we turned off in each half shows that there's still a little bit of mental weakness from time to time. So I'm hoping we can get past that, but overall, I'm still very, very excited for the end of the season. Looking forward to seeing how we're going to finish off. I think we've got a lot of potential going forward, even after this season. I'm really, really excited. Hopefully you guys are too. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this game? What are your thoughts going into the end part of the season? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Lenny Night reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next game. Peace out.